I'll never forget the expression on that police officer's face as he stood on my front porch, squinting down at the paper in his hand. "Mr. Thompson," he began, clearly struggling not to laugh. "I'm here about a violation of HOA landscaping codes and an unauthorized exterior paint color." I couldn't help but grin. Leaning casually against the doorframe, I took a slow sip of my coffee. "That's adorable," I said, making sure my voice carried across the street. "I'm not even part of the HOA." Out of the corner of my eye, I saw movement. There she was. Karen Mitchell, queen of the Willowbrook HOA, standing on her immaculate lawn. Even from 50 feet away, I could see her jaw tighten as the threads of her master plan began to unravel. The officer looked from me to Karen, then back at his papers, bewildered. "Sir, are you certain? The complaint states that your address, 427 Oak Ridge Drive, falls under the Willowbrook HOA. Let me take you back 6 months to when this mess began. I'm Dan Thompson, a remote working software developer. After years of renting apartments, I finally bought a house, charming 2-story, big yard, perfect for a garden. The neighborhood was pleasant, with tree-lined streets and mostly friendly neighbors. The key selling point? The house sat just outside the Willowbrook HOA boundary. I triple-checked it before buying. My realtor showed me the maps and official documents. I loved the area, but I had no interest in paying fees to be told what color my front door could be. The sellers warned me about Karen Mitchell, the HOA president across the street. "She's particular," they said. "I met her on move-in day." She came marching over, clipboard in hand, smile stretched tight. "Welcome to Willowbrook," she chirped, her voice sharp as citrus. "I'm Karen Mitchell, HOA president. I'll need you to complete these membership forms and review our community rules." I set down my box, wiped my hands on my jeans. "Appreciate it," I said, "but I'm not in the HOA. This property's outside the boundaries." Her smile faltered like a flickering light bulb. "Oh, but surely you'd want to join. We uphold such high standards." "Thanks, but I'm good," I replied. The temperature seemed to drop 10 degrees. Karen's eyes narrowed. "I see," she said icily. "Well, I hope you'll keep your property up to community standards. We wouldn't want property values to suffer." With that veiled threat, she turned and stalked back home. For a month, all was calm. I set up my office, unpacked, started mapping out my garden. Then I committed my first sin. I installed a raised vegetable bed in my front yard. Just a neat little box along the driveway, tomatoes, herbs, some sunflowers. My immediate neighbors loved it. The elderly couple next door even asked for gardening tips. Karen? She lost her mind. 2 days later, I received a letter on Willowbrook HOA letterhead, signed by Karen. "Dear homeowner," it read, "your recent landscaping changes violate Section 3.2 of HOA Code. You have 7 days to remove the unauthorized garden or face daily fines." I laughed and filed it away. She had no jurisdiction, and she knew it. When I didn't respond, the letters escalated. $350 in fines, threats of legal action, increasingly absurd violations. Apparently, my garden hose was the wrong shade of green. My trash bins were visible from the street for 8 minutes. My doormat was deemed aggressively non-neutral. Then I painted my shutters. They were dull beige. I chose forest green to pair with the cream siding. Spent the weekend painting. Tom, my next-door neighbor, helped with the upper windows. "Looks sharp," he said. "Gives the place character." Karen's reaction was textbook. This time she didn't just send a letter, she stood in my driveway, taking pictures while I was at the hardware store. My security camera caught it all, her, the measuring tape, the color swatches. Her next letter was pure HOA madness. My shutters weren't on the approved palette, which apparently included only beige, gray, and more beige. Karen escalated again. First, code enforcement. A weary inspector knocked on my door. "We got a complaint about unpermitted changes," he said. I showed him my permits and explained I wasn't in the HOA. He nodded, jotted some notes, and left. "Sorry about this," he said. "We get these calls more often than you'd think." Next, she reported my solar panels. Again, all permitted. The city inspector was impressed. "Great setup," he said. "Wish more people did this." Karen watched from her window as he gave me a thumbs up and drove away. Then came the police visit, over a shed. Officer Martinez looked sheepish. "We got a call about a suspicious structure and possible drug activity." I nearly spit out my coffee. "It's a garden shed." He inspected it. "Tools, soil, lawnmower." "Yeah," he said, rolling his eyes. "Thought so." That's when I decided to fight back. I documented everything, every letter, every encounter. I installed more cameras, filed public records requests, and collected every complaint Karen had made. What I found floored me. Karen had been filing reports, falsely claiming my home was in the HOA. She'd submitted forged documents, including fake meeting minutes, asserting that the HOA had voted to extend boundaries to include my property. I brought the file to Sarah, a lawyer friend. She flipped through it in disbelief. Dan, this is serious. False reporting, harassment, potential fraud. We drafted a cease and desist, outlining everything. My home was never under HOA authority, and any further action would result in legal consequences. I had it delivered via certified mail. My camera caught her reading it. Her face drained, then flushed crimson. She crumpled the letter and stormed inside. 3 quiet days passed. Then she made a fatal error, called an emergency HOA meeting to push for expanded enforcement. But the board had been watching. Tom, who sat on the board, told me she claimed I was damaging the neighborhood. When asked for proof, she presented photos of my garden and shutters. She said she'd filed boundary documentation with the HOA's management company. A board member called to confirm no such documents existed. One board member, Janet, a lawyer, asked if Karen had acted without approval. Silence. That's when I made my move. Sarah advised me to attend as a guest, allowed under HOA rules. I brought my folder, asked to speak, and laid it all out. The property map, cease and desist, evidence of false reports. I'm prepared to file charges, I said, but would prefer to resolve this peacefully. Janet turned to Karen. Have you been filing reports, claiming HOA jurisdiction over his property? Karen stammered. I was just trying to protect the neighborhood. Too late. The board voted, 6-1. Karen was out as president. She voted for herself. The city, now aware of her antics, issued her a formal warning about filing false reports and abusing emergency services. Any further incidents would mean fines up to $5,000 and possible jail time. And the cherry on top, Karen's employer, a real estate firm, caught wind of it. After client complaints, she was given an ultimatum: stop the harassment or find another job. She hired a lawyer who told her to stop all contact. The next day, I installed a small sign in my yard. Laminated property map right above it, in forest green letters: not your HOA, not your problem. Petty, maybe, but satisfying. Oh, absolutely. The neighborhood loved it. Others followed suit. One neighbor put up a fake historic marker. Established 1952, still independent. Another planted an even bigger garden with a sign: her free zone, tomatoes welcome. The rebellion spread. Within weeks, 3 more board members resigned. The new president, Janet, clarified the real boundaries and even complimented my shutters. Karen? She's still across the street, but now keeps to herself. She glares from her window, but never says a word. The police know her name now for all the wrong reasons. Turns out I wasn't her first victim, just the first to fight back. One neighbor sued her for emotional distress, $20,000 in damages. She tried to settle, but they held firm. Last week, the judge ordered her to pay $15,000. She broke down in court, sobbing, saying she only wanted to protect property values. I sipped my coffee just like I had that morning on my porch and smiled.